One of your race engineers has said your attention to detail is just maddening. In what ways?
Well, I think most drivers are kind of like that. I might take it to an extreme. They call it attention to detail. Some people call it OCD.
What do you think it is?
It's attention to detail. And when you work with people in racing, generally the attention to detail is tiny because it's the smallest difference that makes winning or losing. And everybody you work with is got that same mindset. And I learned a lot of that, I think, from Jackie Stewart, watching the way he worked. The fact that he would get the truck drivers to turn the truck tires so that Bridgestone was at the top, and then they would, in white pen, write out, the Bridgestone logo, that kind of stuff.
I mentioned I taped an episode with Mario Andretti out at Fontana, and he was telling me that the track or the stadium, whatever you want to call it, can be filled with people. He can be driving at 200 miles an hour, and if one of his friends tells him what he's going to be wearing and the general area of the stands he's going to be in, he can actually pick the friend out going at 200 miles an hour. And I found that to be amazing. But what do you actually see when you're driving?
I try, depending on the track. On an oval, it's like looking down a tunnel for me. I'm picking out, if going down Indianapolis, for instance, turn one, I'm picking out my turning point from basically 3/4 of a mile away coming down, and you start to come into focus. And then I start to pick out the apex point, then the exit wall. It's literally like looking down a tunnel for me. I can pick out on the track the smallest little thing.
Like what?
Like a tiny little piece of debris, you'll see it, and it'll come into focus. You end up with some strange things. I had a fly inside my helmet at a test. It's interesting what happens to a fly under about 5 Gs. At Phoenix, this fly was sort of flying around the helmet, and I went through turn one, and the fly went, and it was stuck to the right side of the helmet. I went, okay, that's interesting. And back it comes, and it just kept getting stuck. It was hilarious. It left to the right side of the helmet. I can't remember, but it was getting flown across the visor anyway, and it kept getting stuck. And eventually, I slowed down and let the poor guy out.
What do you think about while driving?
All kinds of things.
Can you daydream?
No, God no.
Okay.
Your mind. My mind is processing everything that's going on. The driving almost has to be second nature, so you're sitting there thinking as you're driving around. Okay, you're thinking about the car, what's the balance doing? What do I need to adjust? Okay, how am I going to get past this guy? Right, one more pit stop to go. Okay, right, what's happening here? You're processing all that other information, and the driving is almost second nature.
What's your deal with seats and steering wheels?
It's always very important for me to be comfortable in the car. And so I was always working on the seat, the steering wheel, everything about the comfort of the car was very important to me. How I sat in the car. Some tracks, the steering would be too close, too far away, the seat would hurt a bit, or, I was thinking about the seat rather than driving the car and thinking about where it was uncomfortable. And so that was important. And that turned out, actually, with the accident, because I was so fussy, turned out to have really saved me from worse injury.
You once had the girl who does your racing suits move an embroidered sponsor logo over by 2 millimeters?
No.
That's what TK says.
TK exaggerates. TK has never let the truth get in the way of a good story in his life. He is, honestly.
He also says you take 15 minutes to get in the car when most other drivers would take 2?
I take 10.
10.
It's typical TK.
When most other drivers take 2?
They probably take 5, I take 10.
Okay, and why is that?
Well, you got to be comfortable. And I have a different way of getting in the car too. Most drivers...
You really have a routine.
Yeah, most drivers put their helmets on, everything on, get in the car. I put my earplugs in, balaclava on, then I get in the car, then I put my helmet on, hands device, gloves, everything else. So I do things a little bit differently, or did things a little bit differently.